Republic TV is the only channel reporting live from the war zone. My colleague Shravan Sen joins us from Korosten, live from the bunker. Shravan, what are you picking up right now?
Well, in fact, in Korosten, where we've been reporting from, what we have been highlighting is that how civilians have lost their lives. Right now, I've reached one household where these are heartbreaking stories. When the attack actually took place, as I was pointing out in my last broadcast, that civilians were staying in this very place. Now, I'll just try and show it to our viewers. This, what you see right now, is where children were actually staying. I'll also speak to the grandfather here, who's going to tell you that when the attack actually took place, there were 5 children who were inside this very bunker, and this entire place was caught on fire. As you can see right now, what's really happened is that this entire area, this entire room where children were actually staying, about 5 children were staying when the Russians carried out an aerial bombardment. This entire area has been completely destroyed, damaged, as you see, leading to large-scale destruction. In fact, I have with me my colleague Andre, who's going to speak to him and try and get you the story of what really happened when the bombing was carried out, how many losses took place. Andre, just you've spoken to him. Explain it to our viewers, what really happened, how is his family members right now?
When the bombs had been here, the bomb dropped on the street, and the parts of this bomb carried on fire this building. And while the alarm, all of his grandchildren, 3 girls and 2 boys, were in the basement, in the shelter, and it when it was caught on fire, they had been there for 30 minutes before the firefighters came. Thanks to God, they all now alive. But it's a terrible story.
Can you also ask him how many people were staying here when the bombing actually took place? Not just here, but the other places where the bombing took place.
Скільки людей ховалося взагалі, поки бомби, поки було бомбардування, ви знаєте?
5 онуків моїх.
А от крім них, не знаєте?
Мене вони тут не ховалися. Мене супруга, батько 94 роки, в хаті ми сиділи, а діти, 2 онука, 3 онучки ховались все рівно в убежищі. Я його робив, щоб в случаї всякого. Ну, благодаря, що зроблено воно по-людськи, по совісті, видержало, півчаса горіло, воно все, ми через 40 минут достали дітей тільки. 40 минут вони там дишали.
He tells that he doesn't know about the other people in the street, but he knows when the bombardment was, he, his wife and his old father was in the house, staying there, and he built this building especially for that cases like bombarding and other stuff. Because it was very good made, children were there for 40 minutes while the other building was on fire.
As you can see, this entire place, if I can just show you some parts of it, if you can see this entire place, it's a kind of a bunker that has been created. What you see right now is 2 beds that were basically made, as Andre was pointing out. This was essentially made because whenever there is an air raid alert or siren that is basically sounded off, people actually go inside bunkers like this. But this is certainly a well-made bunker. That is the reason why, despite the kind of aerial bombardment that actually took place, they were in a position to remain safe. This entire area has caught fire. As you can see, it's the charred remains of this house. There's absolutely nothing is left, but thankfully the children are safe is what we are being told. So that's the situation in places like this, where you're seeing how constantly people who have... Take a look at some of the images that we are also getting right outside the house where the bombing took place, and the charred remains of a car. This is what remains of a car right now, what you see, because the bombing took place just few meters away. That's the charred remain of a car. And on the other side, if I can also ask Rawatji just to take a look at this, also show you the impact of the aerial bombardment in this village. As you see, nothing remains right now, and this is exactly what we have been pointing out right from perhaps the very second day of the invasion, that the focus for the Russians right now is no longer the military bases. They are directly attacking civilians. It's not that that they would not have an idea where these aerial bombardments are taking place. They certainly have an idea of what's really happening, which are the areas that are being targeted. And as I was pointing out in my earlier broadcast, that these areas are being targeted simply because this is one of the crucial axes for the Russians, so that they can reach Kiev from the northern side. And that's what we are witnessing right now, that there's been large-scale destruction in these areas, and civilians have lost their lives. This is not just a battle between the army and, for that matter, rather both the armies. It's clearly becoming a battle between the people and the Russian army.
Right, Shravan, do stay with us on the broadcast. You are reporting live from Korosten war bunker, and earlier also you had also taken us through several reports there of the shelling that Korosten has witnessed. To take us through some of the other sites to around that area of Korosten that has been witnessing a barrage of shelling there by the Russian forces.
Well, Crispino, Korosten is one of the crucial areas for the Russians, because remember, just up north is Belarus, from where the military operation has been started by the Russians. And for them, it's becoming far more easier to attack these areas, because what you see is that they have direct access to the airfields there, from where aerial bombardment it is far more easier to carry out those operations, air operations. And as you see, these are places where people were still living. And as I was been pointing out in all my broadcasts, that it is never easy for a lot of people to run away or to leave their own homes. And for many, this question would be, why is it that these areas haven't been evacuated? It is simply because there are several people that we have come across who have been telling us time and again that they do not have the wherewithal to, essentially, they do not have the wherewithal to leave the places and go to perhaps a little safer area, simply because those options are not available to them. And that is the reason why what is happening is that these areas where civilians are staying, there have been loss of life. The loss of life is far more than what we can estimate at this point in time, because there hasn't been a clear sort of a number that has been given to us of the casualty deaths in Ukraine. Having said that, what is becoming very, very clear is that time and again, all the areas that come under this particular axis, that's the reason why 48 hours ago when we got you that report from Zhytomyr, this was part of that very axis. And now what you're looking is that these are civilian areas that have come under massive attack of the Russian army. And perhaps in the days to come, we are given to understand that if there isn't any arrangement of a ceasefire, perhaps you would see similar sort of images coming in from various other cities.
Yes, Shravan, you are reporting live from a war bunker there from Korosten. Do continue staying with us, Shravan. We've also got reports of Zelensky hitting out at NATO at this point of time.
Crispino, can I just come in, because I will have to make a move from here. The sirens have been, sounded off not very far from here. We are trying to move to another location. We are being told that in this area itself, within the vicinity of about another 50 to 60 kilometers, is another place which was targeted by the Russian army. So our endeavor, as our endeavor right now has been to try and basically move to areas where we can perhaps get you more such reports. I'll also tell our directors that perhaps to get in someone right now to take over so that we can move to another location and try and get you those reports, because this is an area, remember, which still remains very volatile, very sensitive, because despite the kind of preparations that have been taken by the Ukrainian army, the Russian army has outsmarted them when it comes to the aerial power that they have. And that is the reason why what we are looking is that no more of just ground offensive. It is right now it is the air power that is being utilized by the Russian Federation to carry out these kind of attacks. We are being told that in the last 48 hours itself, 3 such areas in the vicinity, they have come under massive attack, and we've covered one. We are planning to go to another 2 such locations from where we would be sending in our reports.